Hello and welcome back to What's Happening to My Body. In the last episode, we talked about the emotional and energy shifts that can happen during perimenopause. And today we're zooming in another huge and often frustrating piece of the puzzle, your gut. Bloating that seems to appear out of nowhere, constipation that never used to be an issue, foods that suddenly don't sit right anymore. And what makes this so confusing is that many women are told it's just stress or you must have eaten something bad. But if your gut feels like it's suddenly not playing fair, there is a reason.
And this is a conversation I'm extremely passionate about because obviously I do specialize in gut health. Uh, but remember that gut health symptoms are one of the most common reasons women reach out for support in this phase. And it's actually a great thing. And often women feel like their body has turned against them. So today we want to explain what's actually happening in your digestive system and how to support gently your gut without cutting out everything you enjoy or jumping into extreme protocols. So, starting with one of the biggest things to understand is that estrogen, like we said in the last episode, it is quite a big part of perimenopause. And it doesn't just affect your mood or cycle, it also plays a huge role in gut motility. Now, motility is the movement of food through your digestive tract. When estrogen fluctuates, this movement definitely can slow down. So, when digestion slows, food sits in the gut longer, which increases fermentation, gut bloating, and also constipation. And this is why many women notice that they're more bloated, especially around certain points in their cycle, and why that bloating can become more frequent in perimenopause.
Yeah, and this can feel really unsettling. Women often
Absolutely.
say, I eat the same things I always have, but now I'm bloated all the time. And it's not that your food suddenly became the problem, it's that your digestion is moving differently. And that distinction matters because it changes how we respond. So let's talk about bloating and constipation specifically. For some women, constipation is brand new. For others, it's alternating between constipation and feeling uncomfortable or gassy. And bloating can feel unpredictable. You wake up flat, eat normally, but by the afternoon, your stomach feels tight or distended.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's when motility slows. So the stool sits in the colon longer. And that allows more water to be reabsorbed, which can make stools harder and more difficult to pass, which creates constipation. And a slower movement also means more gas production, which contributes to bloating and discomfort, which sometimes can be quite painful. And what's
Yeah.
important to understand is that bloating doesn't always mean that you're intolerant to some foods. Often it's timing and a movement issue and not always a quality issue per se.
Yeah, exactly. And this is where women often start restricting. They cut out carbs, fiber, dairy, gluten. And while that might reduce symptoms temporarily, it often worsens gut function over time.
Absolutely. And that's why food sensitivities can increase. So, this is another common experience during perimenopause. Foods that you've tolerated for years suddenly becomes bloating, discomforts, or changes in your bowel habits. And this can be linked to changes in your gut lining integrity, gut bacteria balance, and slower digestion. When food sits in your gut longer, it can feel harder to tolerate because of the inflammation, even if it's not truly quote unquote harmful to you per se.
Yeah, and this is where fear around food also creeps in. We start to associate certain foods with discomfort, and eating becomes even more stressful. And stress itself can worsen digestion, which creates a cycle. You're not suddenly sensitive because your body is failing, but your gut is responding to changes in movement, hormones, and stress load. And one of the most underestimated factors in your gut symptoms during perimenopause is stress. And again, not just emotional stress. Busy days, rush meals, eating on the go, undereating, and constant stimulation all send signals to the gut.
Yeah, 100%. And when the nervous system is in a state, digestion is not a priority. So blood flow is redirected away from the gut, digestive enzymes are reduced, and motility slows further. So this is why stress can lead to bloating, constipation, and even loose stools. And during perimenopause, the gut becomes definitely more sensitive to these stress signals as well.
Yeah, this is why someone can eat a perfect diet and still feel unwell. Digestion isn't just about what you eat, it's about the state you're in when you eat.
Yeah, and the key word here is absolutely gentle. You do not need a gut reset, cleanse, or an extreme elimination diet. Supporting digestion during perimenopause is about improving movement, safety, and consistently. And some helpful ways to do it include eating regularly and not skipping meals, chewing food really well, and slowing down during meals. So sitting down without watching your phone or TV, but staying more mindful, staying very well hydrated. So making sure you're drinking a lot of water throughout the day, supporting bowel regularity with fiber from whole foods and not supplements or extremes. And also incorporating gentle movement like walking can really help stimulating digestion.
Yeah, and just as importantly, reduce pressure. Your gut doesn't respond well to fear or control. Instead of asking what I should cut out, try asking what would help my digestion feel safer today. That might mean sitting down to eat, adding warm meals, or choosing foods that feel grounding rather than restrictive.
Yeah. And you know what? Consistency matters more than perfection always. Small supportive habits repeated daily will do so much more for you and your gut than any short term protocols.
If your digestion has been confusing or frustrating lately, we hope this episode helped you feel less alone. Your gut isn't misbehaving, it's just adapting.
Yeah, 100%. And we're obviously going to be touching base on gut health a lot more in the future episodes. Even though at the moment we are focusing a little bit more on perimenopause itself and its symptoms. But in the next episode, we'll talk about weight changes during perimenopause and why the usual advice often stops working. So, this is something we get asked all the time, and it is very, very insightful to know. So, make sure to follow the podcast and make sure to follow our Instagram at NutriFit Project so you don't miss it. And if this episode resonated with you and you think it can help someone around you, make sure that you send it to them.
Yeah, and thank you for being here. See you soon.
See you
Bye.
next week.